you guys. Well, I just wanted to let you know I made a mistake last week and I had put the wrong episode number in my thumbnail because I was so tired. But I fixed it. So if you didn't see last week's gossip dump for episode 12, you need to go and find it now because it's corrected and watch it because it was really good. And there was very interesting receipts that I dropped on that one that I think was unexpected, and quite a lot of people commented how much they liked it. So please watch that one if you haven't. I noticed the number was lower than usual, probably because I screwed up the thumbnail. All right, that's number one. Number two, I'm doing a live with Kim D next Friday. I know you guys love those, and we are going to spill the tea on what the fallout was from our last live that you guys know what happened on that one. So just get excited. Plus, Kim D was just featured in the New York Post and related to someone she knew that was involved in all these scandals. And I'm definitely going to be talking to her about it. It'll be a good live. Anyway, let's talk about episode 13, gossip. So I reached out to Kiki to ask her after Tamra Judge went on Watch What Happens Live and said that Scheana Shay made up the Roofie story and somehow got this to Kiki or Katie or somehow got it across the line. And then that turned into what Kiki was referring to and Katie and everybody was referring to. Tamra doesn't go into much detail about this theory. She just says it. And Teddy doubles down on it. And so I asked Kiki, I said, what the hell is going on? Because my understanding is that Scheana did not start this rumor and that that's a lie. And actually, there's no evidence to even show that she started the rumor, even though she's been good friends with Gretchen for years. In fact, all the friends I talked to that know Gretchen never heard this story before, this season. Like, it's some new thing, right? And Gretchen would have told them because Gretchen does privately drag Tamra from time to time, right? So they would have heard it. And they didn't. So anyway, I was like, what's going on? And Kiki's like, I actually have no idea because Scheana doesn't have any idea. None of us know why she made this up on Watch What Happens Live. Like, was it a way to get press for OC? Was it a way to create a beef that would, up everybody's podcast numbers? Nobody knows why this happened with Tamra. And I was like, wow, that's wild. And then she said to me, by the way, Tamra and Scheana collabed recently. So it's weird that this happened. And I said, wait, recently? And she was like, yeah. And then I kind of went on and did my show that I had to do. Well, I thought it was recent, this week coming out. But I think what she was actually referring to, as I sat with it a little longer, was that Tamra Judge had just gone on Scheana Shay's show just 2 months ago and never mentioned that she thought Scheana Shay started the Roofie rumor, never called it out, although she did have a whole conversation with Kiki about Kiki and her beef about, Tamra trying to get her fired because she calls Andy because she's pissed because Kiki's guest said something bad about Tamra and Tamra retaliated against Kiki on it. Now, the reality is that they allegedly in this, hangout session resolved their issues, but I don't believe so. Truly, I don't think so. I think it was real for Kiki, but not Tamra. I should say that. But what really struck me was that Tamra doesn't bring this up at all. Now, remember, this whole thing has been shot in the can, few months now. Tamra knows everything happening, and she doesn't say to Scheana Shay on her show, hey, listen, I heard you started a rumor. Just that. She doesn't have to get into what rumor. Heard you started a rumor and you told it to Gretchen, and I want to talk to you about it. I don't want to get into the details of the rumor, but how dare you? How dare you? Didn't you gossip that to Kiki? I mean, that would have been an epic show for Scheana. She would have had huge numbers on that show. Nope, Tamra doesn't do it. She pretends like everything is totally normal and fine, and her and Scheana Shay are good friends. And in fact, Scheana compliments her on how they talk behind the scenes all the time and give each other heads up on things and get additional insight on stuff airing on the show. So you mean to tell me that Tamra way back 9 months ago when all this is happening didn't hit Scheana Shay up and say, listen, I heard this about you and gossiping with your good friend Gretchen, telling her that, Roofie and you were coming for me and all this stuff and you're trying to help Gretchen with this Roofie story? It's just silly. I think Tamra, for some reason, got pissed at Scheana Shay, and this was her attack plan, or it's a PR stunt for BravoCon 2025 or something. Just saying. Now, before you give me your opinion, let me show you some receipts. You're welcome.
Coming out of the Tom Girardi trial. And yeah, I mean, obviously I was just like, I don't know what happened. And then, yeah, we talked about it on Shenanigans. And I turned it into like, yeah, like she talked to Andy and I was like, I hope I'm not going to get fired. And then of course the internet ran with it. Was like, Tamra's trying to get Kiki's fired.
And you said that to me too. It wasn't like you didn't say, you said it to my face. You're like, I'm like, no, girl, I'm not trying to do that. I'm just like, and it wasn't really the host. It was the caller, but the host wasn't shutting it down. The host was like engaging in it. And I'm like, okay, that's not cool. Like if somebody came on my podcast, started calling a cast member a whore and, you know, all these things, I'd be like, hey, you know what, back up.
Totally. There's a line.
There's a line.
Yeah. Oh my God, Tamra knows lines now.
We're all family here.
Squash, yes, no beef.
No beef. Yeah, not at all.
Love it.
No, we actually have a little bond.
And now they have a bond. See, this
Now,
only 2 months ago.
you may not be able to answer this,
But that isn't the really good one. Listen to this. Remember, this is 2 months ago, guys. Think about the beef between Tamra and Scheana that's like last week, okay?
And do whatever, and I can move forward. Like this girl for the past 12 years being off the show repeatedly was doing things to me. Stories constantly, stories on her own Instagram. I'm like, I don't even know you. Like if somebody would ask me about her, I'd be like, I haven't seen her in 12 years.
Yeah.
People change, people move forward. She's a mom now. Like, but no,
yada, yada.
no.
well, one thing I will say though
Here,
that I
listen.
do love and appreciate about you, I mean, obviously Gretchen and I have been friends forever, but
Listen.
the Gretchen aside, like when it comes to like a Jessie Lolly or Michelle or Janet or something, I appreciate that you and I have been able to have real conversations as friends where I'm like, hey, I heard you said this on your podcast and I just want to give you a little more context. So I just wanted to point out that I really appreciate that about you because I felt like when we were talking about Jessie and Michelle, you really heard what I had to say.
For sure.
And I understand when you guys are recapping episodes, you're just doing your job. You're basing it off the edit and what you see. But I'm like, okay, so Tamra, as my friend, I would like to tell you a little more about my friend Michelle. And I just really appreciate that about you.
Because I don't know her.
Okay, so you get my point, right? If Tamra was having a real feud with Scheana, spreading rumors that she drugged somebody on a previous show, which have gotten other people fired off Bravo, don't you think she would have reached out their good friendship and DM'd each other or text each other and talked about it instead of doing it, you know, whack back and forth publicly like they've been on their social media? Of course they would, just based on what Scheana said there. And in addition to that, you don't think that Tamra, knowing full well the entire content of the entire season, when she did that interview with Scheana 2 months ago, wouldn't have already said to Scheana Shay, hey, listen, I heard you said I roofied Gretchen to Kiki? Give me a break. The only person who let anybody down here was People's editor, okay? People's editor who were told something in confidence by Kiki to try to validate something and then leaked it to Tamra, and then she betrayed him, Dave Quinn, by bringing it out on the show. There it is. Anyway, the tea here really is trying to figure out why Tamra made this up about Scheana Shay and went so hard in promoting it that Andy was like, we need to do a Squash the Beef segment at BravoCon 2025 over this. And, you know, okay. So just say, you guys give me the comments. I want to know what you think. Gretchen posted this on her feed. She's really excited. These are all girlfriends of hers doing, I guess, some sort of content or whatever. And there's Scheana Shay, her good friend. And Katie posted this on hers. Yes, Katie Ginella tagging Scheana Shay, good as gold, and showing that Tamra Judge is so proud to be Katie Ginella's friend. There they are together on both of their Instagram feeds. Oh yes, the passive-aggressive dragging continues. So Alexis Bellino has been having so many damn parties to celebrate this wedding to John Janssen and calling the press over and over again to cover them that it's kind of confusing if she's married or not now. So I had to look into it literally because I was like, wait a minute, wasn't she in Vegas with all her friends getting married? No, that was a pre-engagement to marriage event she held in Vegas. And then she had that other like shower with Tamra going and all that was previous to that. And then there was like another thing she did. So it looks like finally she's getting married on October 3rd. And so why I'm bringing this up to you, not that you care whether or not Alexis Bellino is getting married to John Janssen or not, but I wanted you guys to know, first of all, it's any day now. And second of all, she disinvited Jennifer Pedranti, although sending her a save the date, because Jennifer Pedranti did not return her text messages when she had a medical emergency like a few months ago. Jennifer never actually answered her. And then when she reached out a few more times, like just to be like, I'm out of my surgery, like Jennifer never said, are you okay? Nothing. Yeah, nothing. So she had received a save the date. And then, of course, Alexis Bellino is like, why am I inviting her to my wedding, which is small as it is? So she disinvited her, but she made sure to tell everybody in the press before she did it. I don't think Jennifer Pedranti gives a shit, but there you have it. Recently, Heather Dubrow told a story that she and Terry Dubrow, back in the day when they were first kind of together and they had just commingled their funds, had been enticed to invest in a World Cup like real estate venture that turned out to be a scam. And it was recommended by their alleged CPA. I say that because it turned out he wasn't qualified. And he was just kind of a bullshit accountant trying to get rich people's money to do projects. Anyway, they fell for it. They gave him $2 million for this World Cup thing, and Terry lost all the money, and it turned out to be a big scam. And they learned that they better watch their money better in the future. So it was a blessing in disguise. But she told that story this week. All right, so now let's get into the recap, shall we? So Tamra goes into the next scene after last week's big blowout where, she calls out that Gretchen said that she cheated with this guy on Eddie back in the day. We fast forward. Tamra's telling Eddie the story, sort of. She doesn't bring up the fact that she was with Eddie at the time, but she says, the story came out that I did this thing with this guy. And Gretchen called it out. And she's like, so now we're doing this spring party, which I'm decorating in our house, but I'm not going to invite Gretchen. And he's like, okay. And then she talks about who's disloyal. Now, on Watch What Happens Live this week, she said Emily was disloyal considering she works for her. Told you. And then this week on the show, though, she said that Heather was being disloyal. She doesn't pick a side, and she definitely won't turn on Tamra when she disagrees with her, even though she doesn't trust her. And Emily doesn't trust Tamra either. And Emily says that's because she's smart, with sensitive information, I should add. So the women go on Me Borrow, which is, I guess, you break a vase and you put it back together and it's symbolic and it kind of zen, art class. So Heather and Shannon go to Me Borrow to smash a vase and put it back together with epoxy for spiritual zen work, I guess. I don't know, LA, they just get bored and come up with shit and charge you a lot for it. But they do this, and Heather was just like, I feel bad with what happened with Tamra. It went too far, blah, blah. And then Shannon was like, the girls don't think that you should be in your comedy theater, even though it's a really established one, because they don't see you as a comedian or funny person. And Heather's like, why do I have to keep defending my career to these women over and over again every season? And that's that. So in the next scene, we do finally see Emily come clean to Tamra Judge. She's first to the spring party, and well, she says, listen, I said I didn't trust you to, Heather Dubrow when we talked about you. And Tamra gets upset and she says, I'm not angry with you. I'm hurt by you. And she goes upstairs and cries. And Emily's just sitting there awkwardly in someone else's house. And that's kind of weird. And then Shannon Beador checks in on Gretchen, who's doing like a photo op with her Slade and child. And, there's a conversation about how she kind of hides behind the Jesus curtain, as Tamra says. And that's pretty much that scene. So then Tamra announces she's going to meet with Katie Ginella because she wants all the receipts to see what Gretchen really said to her, and that she may actually believe Katie after all. Big shocker, because we know this is the direction it's all going in. And Emily Simpson takes such offense to this that she's like, now you're hurting me because she hurt my family and she recorded Shannon and she betrayed Gina by calling her a racist. And now you're meeting with her and you're trying to mend that tie. That's like a direct attack on me. So Emily gets pissed at Tamra, and then Shannon hears her name mentioned. So she comes out and finds out that Heather is upset because Tamra said that she wasn't funny, and she's outing that whole thing. And Tamra's like, that's not exactly what I said. And she's like, well, that's what Shannon told me you said. And Tamra's like, I can't believe that Shannon did that, but she doesn't want to, piss her off because she just kind of made up with her, sort of. So it's like mayhem. Well, that's not the only receipts that Tamra is all about. She found out somehow that Jennifer Pedranti had followed the guy that she allegedly had an affair with while she was with Eddie when they first met, kind of thing. And that didn't happen, I guess. And so, Jennifer was really honest on the show and said, look, I followed him because I wanted to see what he would say to me if he saw me following him. Like maybe he would give me some tea, but he didn't. And that was so honest. But she, of course, in the moment says to Tamra, I don't know why you had to print it out. And Tamra's like, because I can't read because I'm old. That was a great scene. Anyway, the bottom line is that Jennifer was just looking for dirt and Tamra knew it. And she tried to call her out and Jennifer didn't really care because Jennifer right now isn't really Tamra's friend on the show. And Tamra keeps doing this thing where we pretend everybody on our cast is our friends and they betrayed us by doing stuff when you know perfectly well that you don't have any friends on the cast. And if you do, it's for a fleeting moment. So anyway, then we jump to a scene with Heather Dubrow and Tamra. And Heather tries to go in and console Tamra because she's feeling alone and she wants to quit the show again. She threatened it 3 times tonight on this episode. And Heather's like, why? Why do you want to quit? And Tamra's like, well, because you don't trust me and you've been my friend for 15 years. And Heather's like, well, I don't trust you. And that's where that ended, that scene. So really the rest is Tamra quitting again several times. You'd think the girl was dying to get back on the show and now she can't quit enough on the show. This has got to be kind of mixed messaging for the producers. I don't know, Andy might be upset about this too, right? I don't think if I was a producer, I would like to see this, even if she is dramatic and fun TV. I wouldn't want to have someone quitting on camera every 10 minutes, right? It's not a great look. Even though they're using it for drama, it's not a great look for the show, I don't think. You know what I mean? So anyway, I'll leave it there. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Good to see you.